I've learned a lot over the past couple of months here at ACC, but one of the most important things I've learned are the elements and principles of design. It's a great foundational tool that has really helped me with everything in this course. I knew a little bit about these elements before, enough for me to create appealing shots in video or completing titles and logos. This is mainly due in part to me taking art class all throughout high school. One of the main things they would teach every year was the principles of design, albeit a much more watered down version. It wasn't until I started attending ACC that these concepts were really fleshed out for me. The way they were presented gave me a much better understanding on how these elements are to be used. You could really tell that the instructor knew what she was talking about, more so than my high school art teachers. Let's go through these elements and principles of design. Let's start off with the first design element. I took all of these pictures myself for digital design class. I really like this image. If you can't already tell, this image represents line. The way that not only the very distinct road lines guide your eye to the center of the image, but even the sides of the road do as well. All the lines come together to the middle of the image, showing the true power of lines. Next, I would like to take a look at the rule of thirds. This is probably my favorite design principle. It's a very simple rule that makes everything much more pleasing to the eye. Take the image on the screen for example. If I were to have taken that image with the building centered and had too much of the sky showing, it would have looked very amateur-like. Most modern cameras should be equipped with the rule of thirds grid, so there should be no excuse for taking bad images. Up next is color. Color can be a very emotional principle of design, depending on how you use it. In the image I took, the stop sign is red, the rest of the image is in black and white. It gives it a more powerful message than if I were to have taken the image in just color, or just black and white. It would have turned out to be a poor image, not to say that this one is award-winning though. Space is one of the elements that I never really thought of. Its importance in creating art is immensely powerful. In the image you see here, most of the image is in complete darkness, while the moon lights up a small spot. The emptiness really makes it easy to focus on the focal point intended by the artist. Rhythm is something I also overlooked in my past experiences with design. The way the repeating patterns draw your eye to where it's supposed to be is an amazing way to get your messages across. You could do the same thing with lines, but the way rhythm moves you in the exact same way can create an even more powerful effect if used properly. The one thing I still have trouble with is shape. I understand how it can evoke a message, but the actual process of going about it is difficult for me. The picture you were looking at is the best I was able to capture. Definitely not a very strong example of how this element is supposed to be used. Hopefully, with more practice, I will be able to learn more about this specific element. The past few months here at ACC have been quite the adventure for me. Everything and everyone has been great, and I've learned a lot. I can't wait for what the next year and a half holds in store for me as I take the next step in developing my future career.